Are you curious about the 1-4 profile and what this little fraction looking number means for you? Well, don't worry, because you're in the right place, and by the end of this video, you'll get the answers to the following questions. What is the 1-4 profile? What are the characteristics of the 1-4 profile? What's the public role and leadership style of the 1-4? What are the keys to health and happiness for 1-4s? And we'll even take a look at some famous 1-4s to give you a few examples of how this might be lived out. So if you enjoy this video and want to continue to learn and deepen your understanding of human design, I'd be so grateful if you could show some support by hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal Alfarero. I'm founder of the Human Design Academy, and I help people like yourselves make sense of the human design system. So to continue with the profile series, today we'll be looking at the 1-4 profile. So if you're ready to explore more, let's just dive in. So what is the 1-4 profile? Well, the 1-4 profile is that of the investigator opportunist. And in general, these are the types of people who on one hand have a very warm and friendly demeanor and have this ability to connect and relate to others at a very deep level. And on the other hand, they can also be very introspective and self-absorbed in their own studies and investigations and their own processes. 1-4s are the type of people who are driven to establish secure foundations in their life. And they seek this foundation through their relationships, through their career, and also through their investigations of knowledge and the things that they're interested in. And ultimately, they're here to influence the people in their network through what it is that they have learned through these investigations. Sometimes 1-4s can be very secretive about their investigations until they have a solid foundation on things, and they often don't communicate what they're investigating until they've established a bit of that foundation. But ultimately, they're motivated to learn so that they can help and share this information with their network and the people that they've established these relationships with. So to understand why, we're going to break down the components of the 1-4 profile. What does the 1-4 profile consist of? Well, the 1-4 profile consists of the conscious line 1 investigator and the unconscious line 4 opportunist, which come together to create the investigator opportunist profile. Just to give you a little recap, each of the 6 lines of the hexagram have a specific frequency or flavor, and it's in this unique combination that the profile is created. It's one of the 7 personal profiles, which means that they have a life theme that's focused on self-discovery and self-growth. So it's a personal destiny that they're here to fulfill. And in the 1-4 profile, the first line is the investigator archetype and represents that conscious personality, their mind, how they think. And this is specifically because it's on that conscious side. It's that first number in that fraction, the top number of that fraction. So this is the side of their nature that's conscious to them. This is what they have conscious access to. This is the researcher side of them that seeks a solid foundation of knowledge to stand on. And until they have this solid foundation, they tend to feel very insecure. On the other hand, we have the 4th line, and this is the opportunist archetype. And this represents their unconscious design, their body, and their physical experience, because it's the second number of this fraction. This is the side of their nature that isn't something that they have conscious access to, but it's that automatic script that moves them without conscious awareness to it. This is the friendly and social and stability seeking part of them, whose quality of life is directly tied to the quality of their relationships. And they find the most satisfaction through their networks and relationships, as well as opportunities. And this is a huge part of what brings them the stability that they seek. Your profile is something that you grow into, so it's said that in theory, the needs of the conscious line often need to be fulfilled first in order to live out the highest expression of their unconscious lines. In the case of a 1-4, throughout their lifetime, this is all about focusing on building a solid foundation in a certain area of expertise in order to give them something to externalize or, to become known for within their network, and ultimately become an authority for others who seek their expertise. But at the end of the day, both of these sides work together, and the way that you're going to live out the highest expression of your profile, the highest potential of your profile, is simply by following your personal strategy and authority. What are the characteristics of the conscious line 1 of their profile? So, as I mentioned earlier, the first line investigator is the type to constantly be researching and investigating and seeking that solid foundation of information in order to feel secure and confident. They want to stand on a solid foundation of knowledge. These are the types to go down rabbit holes when they come across new information or any topic that they're interested in. So if you have a line 1 in your profile, you're likely someone that is here to share this wealth of information with others, your findings and your research. And line 1s tend to be the natural teachers because they sit on such a solid foundation of knowledge. These are the people that you can tend to rely on to have all of their bases covered. Gray areas can make them feel a little uncomfortable, and so they're driven to seek answers. Line 1s are also open and willing students that are on a path to develop strength through mastery, through that work that they put into it. Line 1s also enjoy long hours of introspection and find strength in eventually establishing themselves as sought after authorities, because this is what gives them a sense of control. And while this investigation is healthy for them, it's what gives them that secure grounding for their trial and error process. At the same time, they need to be cautious of hiding behind the books and feeling like they never know enough. They have a tendency to avoid drawing too much attention to themselves until they feel secure as an authority. So they just need to, be aware of this trap where they constantly feel like they don't know enough, and stop themselves from actually sharing what they know and making an impact with what it is that they do know, because the reality is that you can always find more to investigate. So it's important to discern for yourself, to use your authority in discerning whether you're just avoiding sharing because you really don't know enough, or because of this fear of inadequacy that just keeps you stuck. What are the characteristics of the unconscious line 4 of their profile? Well, on an unconscious level, the line 4 opportunist is the part of them that's also all about foundations, but it's more so in a relational context. So the line 4 is on the bottom of the upper trigram, which is also about seeking solid foundations and stability. So it's important for them to be well prepared before making changes in their lives rather than just jumping into things. It's unconscious, so they might not be aware of this tendency to gravitate towards being more risk averse rather than, spontaneously acting like the third lines might do. They tend to be well prepared and have new opportunities ready before they can make a jump or shift into something new. Just as an example, these are people who may be less likely to ever quit a job without having something in place first. They might prefer not to move or make any sudden changes until they know exactly where they're going, because the unknown is very uncomfortable for them. There's a lot of uncertainty there. As a fourth line, there is also a frequency of kindness and friendliness at its highest expression, and this is what helps them build a lot of genuine relationships and networks, and it's through these relationships that they find the key to their fulfillment and success. They have a lifetime process of getting to the foundation of what it means to be in meaningful relationships, because they care for others deeply, and at their best, these are your most consistent, stable, and loyal friends. And because of this, and because this is an unconscious part of their nature, they might not even realize or see how natural it is for them to create communities or personal relationships with people around them. And this isn't something that's always so natural for other people. In a low expression, the fourth line can be overly sensitive or even mean and fragile if they've gone through a lot of life experiences with the wrong networks and the wrong people. Their friendliness and care for others can leave them vulnerable to others who may not reciprocate that same friendliness back, and cause them to be cold and shut down from others, right? Based on these past experiences. So it's important for them to follow their strategy and authority to naturally guide them to the right environments, to the right people, and the right networks where they can feel free to open themselves up and share their light with the right people who will welcome them with open arms and appreciate them for who they are. So if you have a 1-4 in the profile, let me know in the comments how you experience your 1-4 profile. Next, what is the public role and leadership style of the 1-4 profile? Well, ultimately, 1-4s are meant to become knowledgeable authorities in their field of expertise. So their public role is also known as the authority influencer, because they're here to externalize and share the knowledge that they've gained through their investigations to influence others in their networks or people they've established connections with. Their leadership style is a combination of the authoritarian nature of the line 1. So like their public role implies, these are people who lead through knowledge and establish themselves as authorities. On the other side, there's also the line 4, which is known as the abdicator. This is the leadership style of the line 4. And this is all about having the potential to accept judgment or criticism of others and abdicating or giving away or delegating leadership when it's necessary. I also see this as having the wisdom and humility to know when something is out of their zone of genius or when to step down from leadership and move on to the next chapter. They're humble leaders that do what needs to be done, even if they're not directly involved in leading at every point in the journey. So what's the key to health and happiness for 1/4s? Well, for 1/4s to thrive, it's important for them to follow their strategy and authority to discern what to investigate and learn and when to share their investigations. It's also important for them to follow their strategy and authority to lead them to the right environments and relationships, and also help them discern which of these relationships are of value. In any of the romantic or professional relationships that they do have, it's important for them to establish a friendship first, right? Strangers may not be as comfortable for them, and they may not have the same level of influence as they would if they don't take the time to establish a connection or a friendship with those that they bring into their life, whether professionally or personally. And by doing this, they establish a personal and secure foundation. They establish their aligned community and realm of influence, and can also share their investigations with others with so much more ease. And this is what's essential for them to maintain their health and well-being. So who are some famous 1/4s? Well, we have Jessica Alba, who's a 1/4 emotional generator, and we also have Muhammad Ali, who's a 1/4 emotional manifesting generator. With Jessica Alba, she's an actress turned entrepreneur and activist who's leveraged her success and connections as an actress to build a multi-million-dollar business. Her business, if you haven't heard about it before, is called The Honest Company, and they sell clean, sustainable, non-toxic household goods and baby products. That's how they started off. And she was inspired after she had her first baby on her. She wanted to create alternative baby products that were safe for her and her family. And I can only imagine the amount of investigation and study she's done before starting this business, and even during its operations. And you can see that she truly embodies that 4th line, and really the 1/4, by investigating the ins and outs of what people need around her and serving them with alternatives that she's learned about. With Muhammad Ali, he became known as one of the greatest boxers in history. And through his successes and his inspiring journey, he naturally gathered the respect and support of many people around him as this influential person in the boxing realm, right? He wasn't just a physically fit boxer, but he was also known to be a very intelligent boxer as well. So I can also imagine him investigating to the depths of what it means to be a great boxer. Maybe he worked a lot on his technical, and maybe he spent a lot of time learning about his opponents as well. And in addition to being a boxer, he was also a father to 9 children and had 4 marriages. He even adopted a son with his 4th wife. So I see this as him demonstrating his need for finding stability through his relationships as a large source of where he finds his personal satisfaction. So now we've come to the end of this video, but if you're wanting to get that extra help to understand your profile and get a holistic overview of this aspect in the context of your chart, I do offer one-on-one human design readings that include a 90-minute Zoom call, plus you get a customized 30-page human design blueprint for your own learning and reflection that you can always use as a resource guide. And I'll leave all of that information and the link for you down in the description. And this brings me to the end of this episode, where we answer the following questions. What is the 1/4 profile? What are the characteristics of the 1/4 profile? What's the leadership style and public role of the 1/4? And what are the keys to health and happiness for 1/4s? So if you enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you could show me some love, hit that like button, and subscribe to continue learning more about the wonderful human design system. So with that said, have an amazing rest of your day or evening wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.